Greetings, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Kiyonah. May you be blessed. It's a chilly, cold day today, so hot coffee is wonderful. So today I'd like to talk about music festivals, the festival culture, the festival scene, being very important to the movements for social justice and for sociocultural transformation and revolution, returning to a good way of being, if in fact humans have ever had that way of living, but we're finding our way as we go. And one of the wonderful things that have evolved is the music festival phenomenon and the festival culture, where you travel from festival to festival as a performer or a vendor or a camper or what have you, or even somebody who records the concerts and posts the videos and things like that. So for a lot of people, the music festival movement in America really began in the 1960s. It grew out of the hotbed of the civil rights movement as a way to disperse tension and energy that had built up and just totally transcend it and release it with music in these really pagan kind of huge groups of people dancing together, where the band plays music in such a way that it starts out in one way and then it builds up to a crescendo, like a huge long song, and then everybody comes back down together as a big group and individually, and it's really trippy, and there's a whole movement built around that. And it's evolved and expanded and diversified and kept our hearts alive, because we have a way to step out of Babylon and the establishment by hopping on the festival train. Maybe in the olden days they hopped on the circus train or whatever. And now it's become a way of life, and people do it generationally. There's grandpa-aged people and their son in his 20s and his girlfriend and their baby, and the baby's being raised up in the festival culture, and probably the baby will grow up and marry someone in the festival culture and have children and, keep going on with that as kind of a way of life. I think that's how it was during the days of the Grateful Dead. And it's a way of life that can support our values, and our lifestyles. And it's all over the world, I don't know if it's spread like wildfire or if people there have always had music festivals. I really don't know, I think of Goa, India, and a lot of other places, and how pagans probably always had music festivals, It's multi-generational, it's multicultural, it crosses all spectrums. From music festivals and consciousness festivals to arts festivals and just all kinds of festivals. It constantly generates its own self-replicating memes, styles of dress, ways of camping, ways of talking about their experience, typical festival routine of packing and planning and road tripping and getting there and setting up and experiencing it and packing up again and going home and dispersing. So the memes in particular that it compels are what propels the sociocultural revolution. Like think of Kiyonah or Reggae on the River or these festivals that generate a really mellow vibe that somehow rocks at the same time and has very strong flavor to it, to where this person emanates this emotional signature and it rubs off on the people around him, and just the whole experience of being around them feels really cool. A lot of times they get into that vibe by going to music festivals. Not everybody, of course, but there's people, People who go to festivals are usually pretty cool. If they're not pretentious and competitive and type A or alpha male or alpha female, you know, if they're just regular people who have that stony kind of vibe of just flowing along with the festival experience, that's really awesome. And that makes it more flexible for society to evolve when people are laid back, you know, and they're not uptight and stressed out and wrapped up in their problems and stuff like that. It makes it so you're relaxed enough to be creative. And festivals now do advocate and promote everything on the fringe. Everything, you know, diverse or new or fresh. Things that are just wanting to be manifested, you know. New inventions of certain kinds of tents and bikes and hammocks and things, you know. The raising of our consciousness in all these trippy ways like poi and fire dancing and things like that. The building of communities both in real life and in cyberspace, like Burning Man has both an online community and they set up a temporary community in the desert, but yet carry that with them in their hearts and then bring it back every time they come back. It's pretty amazing. And festivals can also promote awareness of issues such as decriminalization of cannabis. You know, the festival movement did used to seek social and political transformations, you know, and be radical and bring attention to important causes and things like that, and just really stir up the bee's nest. But now a lot of them are concerned with community building, you know, and creating alternatives together that are in response to what has happened to people in Babylon. If you get too stressed out, too mundane, too much in a rut, you know, one good remedy is to go to a festival where you dress in costumes and you have no schedule and you become instant friends with everyone you meet, you know. It's pretty radical. So these festivals are cultural activities that totally nurture our socio-political consciousness as activists, if we want. And we don't have to be pretentious or visible about it at all. It's just part of how we walk our talk with integrity. You know, like seeing things that are in need and creating the solution anonymously like a ninja. And then watching that transformation take place. Like at festivals, if a lot of people are just throwing everything in the trash can, and there doesn't happen to be any recycling set up, people are just expected to do it on their own, you might see if you can facilitate that being easier for people by building and decorating some really cool recycling bins to set up all around the festival that have interesting graffiti on them or something like that. So festivals are activities that can nurture our consciousness, you know. You can look at Burning Man, Evolve Fest, Canastock, and many more that reflect all of this consistently year after year, which is awesome. It's sociocultural evolution and revolution in action in real life. Whenever the world just seems to be going crazy, you know, and falling all around, festivals provide a context in which to stay on your path. You can always get back on your path by going to a festival, okay? Or a gathering, or a workshop, or a conference. That's how you can get back onto your path. And you can choose anything that you resonate with. You know, River Cane rendezvous, rainbow gatherings, music festivals, Renaissance fairs. You know, there's just so many possibilities. So, you know, people go to these things and they try to leave behind their stresses, you know, their worries about money and things like that. And they bond together really quickly and they seek, you know, joy and comfort in each other while they're there hanging out together. And so, you know, it's really prime ground for reawakening and for just opening and receiving interesting new opportunities that you come across at festivals, just from meeting so many different kinds of people. You know, we come there, walking a path, a good path, and we feel edified and strengthened and lifted up by being with the people there at this festival. And then we go back home strengthened, you know, and reinvigorated, so that we have conscious conversations, and we create memes and zines and music, and, you know, have a potluck every month and whatever. Have a Facebook group where our actual friends all talk about crazy shit all the time. This can all sprout out of a music festival culture, where you feel like you're part of an evolving culture. Like the Rainbow Family. It's always new and different people, but there's some people you do consistently know. But even though the faces may change, the counterculture remains there consistently into perpetuity for you to plug into and recalibrate yourself to. So protests have shown that they're not enough to keep our movements alive as activism. Our movements alive as activists. Like, if you're for the decriminalization of cannabis, not the legalization of cannabis, because that would involve more rules and regulations, but the decriminalization of it, so that it is free like any other weed you find. You know, if we lose our momentum with that, then we can have a music festival around it, and have music and people doing live painting and hula hoop dancing and doing poi, and it's just transcendent in its ability to keep our hearts alive in these things that we give our energy to and try to amplify. Anything that's aimed towards freedom, you know, what's good, what's true, what's real, what's authentic, not what's forced on us or interfering with us or anything like that. So, you know, and their festivals are not just confined to some subculture. If they were, then they might get stale and eventually die out, you know. But they're open to everybody. So there's always new, fertile thoughts and feelings and experiences to keep generating the energy to keep it going. It didn't get stale or die down, you know. And I don't go to festivals because I don't have any money. I just watch movies about it and videos, and I've known a lot of people who were in the scene and who went as vendors or musicians or just regular campers year after year. I've been to a few, but I don't go to them all the time because I don't have the money. It would be nice if there was a lot of free festivals that were just as cool as anything that rocks at a private festival. I don't know if that could happen, but that would be really cool. So music festivals can keep your passion alive in your life. If you lose it, it can definitely reinvigorate you. It's a great source of inspiration and empowerment if you go in there with an open, mellow attitude of just going with the flow, you know, as a festival person. So they're very fertile ground for plugging in with people and for getting cool ideas of things to do together. For actually being the change we wish to see in the world, because when we go to a festival, we're liberated from our usual daily identity, and nobody really knows who we are. And we can act any way we want and cement that perception in that person's mind so that that's how they think of us as being, if that's how we want to be. And then start building on that by acting like that more and more often.